Today's review, a classic, but a good one, Dominion. Let's review. So Dominion, of course, comes with its own instruction manual as well as setup. What's really cool about the setup guide, if you flip to the back, it shows you different methods to set up your game. From first game, big money, interaction, size, distortion, and village square. They're basically crowd pleasers, so you can do what you want for your own game with your friends and kind of tailor what you want to do. Now, the game itself is actually pretty good for the box. It has this neat little label maker. And just to confirm for you guys, this is Dominion, the original game, not any of the crazy expansions. But it comes with this insert that tells you where all the cards are. You can see everything and grab it pretty quickly. So, or which cards, or your seller, etc. These are going to be your action cards. So in this game, you get one action, one buy, you shuffle your cards and move on to the next thing. It's pretty simple to pick up and explain the rules because of that. So this is what a typical game setup looks like. What I did is I did the first game setup in the instruction manual. And from there, what you do for each person, you're going to deal out 7 coppers, which is going to be your money, and then 3 estates. And you shuffle it. And for each turn, you're always going to draw 5 cards, play that hand, and then discard. So when you play, you always do one action and one buy. Now, in the beginning, you obviously don't have any actions. All you have is money for your buy. So in this example, I have 2 coins to purchase something. So as just how to do it, I have 2 coins. I can either purchase the moat, which it tells you in the bottom corner of the card, 2 coins, or I can purchase the seller for 2 coins right here. So in this one, I'm just going to say I'm going to purchase the seller. I'm going to take all these cards, put them down and discard them, and then pick up my next 5 cards to draw. So in this example, my next hand is going to be really good because I have 5 coins, or in this case, 5 copper, and I can purchase anything on the board. What I like to do for game setup is go from the least amount of coins to the most amount of coins, which in this setup is going to be 5 coins down at the bottom here, just to show you guys. Um, and then it just helps for purchasing so you don't have to kind of skim each time when you're playing. So a lot of people ask, why do I get these estate cards at the beginning of the game? These are going to be your victory points at the end of the game. And every time you're drawing your hand, estate cards kind of slow you down in the beginning, but then towards the end, it's really how you win. So you need them in order to win. And for the estates, you have 1 victory point, 3 or 6. Those are your options for the different victory points you can purchase. And then what also confuses a lot of people is for money. You still have to look at the bottom left to purchase a card. So you can always purchase this for free. It takes one buy. So let's say I get a hand of all victory points, and you're like, oh, I can't buy anything. I don't have money. Well, technically, you could use your one buy to get 1 copper if you wanted to, and kind of move along. But in order to get 3 gold, as an example, you need 6 money in order to be able to purchase it. But when you get it, like this would come up in your hand and really help you to purchase it and move forward. So let's go over some pros and cons for Dominion. It's really good for different setups. So the same game, the same box can give you a lot of different gameplay. The instructions themselves come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different setups that you can do. But you can do whatever setup you want, really change out the cards. There's also an area for randomized cards. So it's going to be one of each card. It's indicated by this blue border versus normally they have this brown border at the end of it. And it has one of each, so you can randomly choose cards to kind of do a setup if you want to do it that way. But the other really nice thing about Dominion is it's really easy to explain, and I think that's why it's a win-win game. It only holds 2 to 4 people, so a bit smaller, but it's really good for people who aren't super into board games or don't play a lot of board games, and you're trying to really break them into, board game night. This might be their first time joining. You do one buy, one action, then you discard your hand and move on to the next hand to win. And it usually takes one full gameplay for them to really understand how to get the hang of it, but in my experience in playing with friends and family, typically they always want to play another game because they're like, oh, I get it, and this isn't that hard. And I do understand there's lots of strategies here. Let's play this again and figure out how this works. I think I can actually win at this. Which is always nice when you have someone new to board games or playing a game for the first time that they're able to figure out how to win or think how to win, instead of just the other person being so experienced because they played the game so many times that there's no way they're ever going to win, right? This kind of levels the playing field so people can figure out different strategies to win. The other thing for pros is it's also very family friendly, so I would say it's good for different age groups. So the box itself says it's for 8 and older. I think that is pretty applicable and stands true here. For cons, only 4 people can play. You would think you'd be able to add more people. I have done this before, um, but it does kind of make the game a little bit wonky, but it's doable. I would say not to go over 5, to be honest. Just kind of keep things a little bit more balanced in the game. But in theory, you should be able to expand on this game, especially if you add more action spots, in the actual setup of the game. Dominion. So, what do I think? Overall, Dominion is good for new people that are just breaking into board games or might be a bit hesitant to try board games for the first time. It's also really good for different age groups and really easy to explain. I think this is a good game, a good base game to start building your board game collection, because it's always easy to break out and play a quick game. I will just add on that the game says it's about 30 minutes. Typically, I would say it's around an hour, especially if people aren't very familiar with the mechanics of the game. They're not thinking about what they want to do on their turn until it gets to their turn. It could be a little bit longer than 30 minutes, but I definitely would say it's typically not over an hour for gameplay. Also, just as an overview for Dominion, I would say this is a good family game for different age groups. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's my review for today. Please like and subscribe this video. Just so you guys know, I do run a side business for organization of boxes and making things easier to play and ready to set up. I do think Dominion is a pretty good setup for the game and the board already. It's easy to grab with the organization of the box, but if there are other board games you guys would like to see that have better organizers that go into them or a quicker setup of the game, let me know into the comments.